All right, so
Hello.
welcome to our Saturday.
It's not
I
Saturday, it's
said-
Thursday.
welcome to our welcome to our Thursday Titata
Tata. You and
um
me
you
and
and
you.
me podcast.
Our little talk.
Little talk.
Good
So what do you
evening.
have for us today, Miss Jennifer?
Okay. I am Mrs. Thank you. So, on today's episode, we are going to talk about meekness and humility and how important they are in our everyday life. And then we are going to differentiate between the both and also find out if somebody can actually have one of these and not have one of the other. I mean, is it possible to be a meek person and not to be a humble person? Or can you be a humble person and also not be meek? Is that possible? And also, are these two things the same thing, or are they different in any way? So I'm gonna start with a little summary of what I think meekness is and what I think humility is. So I think, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so meekness is perceived as is more of gentleness. You know how somebody, it's more like how somebody appears and how somebody reacts to maybe confrontations or uh life generally. All right, so it's more of how somebody appears and how they react to things at every given time. And then humility is more like not over exaggerating yourself, understanding your capability as a person and your limitations, and also being able to acknowledge the impact of others or the contributions of others when necessary. Okay. So what do you think these two, what do you think meekness is? What do you think humility is? And do you think that the both of them are different from each other?
Hmm. Meekness and humility. These two concepts they are really things that look alike, you know. But however, I would say meekness is a quality of being gentle, patient, calm, especially in the face of provocation or adversity.
So are you using ChatGPT? Why are you using ChatGPT?
What is ChatGPT? I don't know what is ChatGPT.
Why are you using ChatGPT, bro? I don't understand what's going on here in this meeting. Me, I'm talking from my head and you're using ChatGPT. What's going on? Conversation also have with intelligent person. I'm not who's intelligent person. I don't understand. Bro, be calming down. Talk from your mind. Even if you want to talk from ChatGPT, summarize it. Don't read the line by line. What is going
I
on,
don't
brother?
know. I don't know what they are talking.
Why
Why are you like this?
why why is it ChatGPT, bro? What is going on here?
Brah,
Excuse
brah,
us.
brah,
Excuse
brah,
us. Excuse us.
brah. What are you saying,
You are
brah?
saying, look at what you say. You said that you think, instead of you to say ChatGPT said or something. Why are you saying you think?
Yeah.
Why are you saying you think? You are thinking what ChatGPT said. Bro, what is that?
Brah, brah. I don't know what you're talking about, brah.
Bro, be coming down in this
Brah, what
meeting.
do you mean?
I don't
Brah,
understand what's here. Instead
brah, I
of you
don't
to
understand
say,
what.
you don't know how people used to quote. They
Brah,
say
brah, is it
Miriam
that?
Webster
Brah, do you mean? Brah, do you
according to Webster,
mean?
Miriam Webster. And you're saying, you're always wanting to say,
Brah, is it that you've
according
not
to
seen?
large language model, artificial
Wait,
intelligence, ChatGPT,
wait,
of the
is it that
open,
you've not
of the
seen?
open.
Is it that you've not seen someone so intelligent like this before? What
Shut
exactly is your
up!
problem?
Yeah, you're reading it from ChatGPT. Think I don't know. Meekness is gentleness, being patient. You don't think I know ChatGPT definition?
Eh,
Very
all
much.
right. So I'm telling you, this
Continue.
is me. I'm intelligent somebody. Please don't
No,
don't
tell us
undermine me.
where you're quoting from. People quote people, we understand, but tell us where
I'm
you're
not
quoting
putting.
from.
I'm putting my head. I know you can't
Okay,
relate. I'm putting
let
my
me
head.
quote it for you. Let me put it. So according to ChatGPT from OpenAI, all right, continue.
I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
You
I
know that I
seriously
catch
don't know what. I seriously don't know what
Sunday,
they're talking
we
about.
all the definition I was giving, you're not even paying attention. You speed now browser and at ChatGPT. Fast, 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 fast.
In
I see
fact, because of
browse like
what you said
everything.
now, because of what you said now, let me go to ChatGPT now. Let me go and find out from
Power
ChatGPT.
app. They
Yeah,
already
wait for
there.
me. Wait for me. Wait for me. Let me check.
We already know you're there. Just continue. Just continue, please.
Wait, you insulted my personality. Let me use ChatGPT so that I will know that if you're insulting me, yeah, it's actually what happened. And not you
We already
telling
know
me
you're
something that
there.
didn't happen.
We already know you're there. Just acknowledge it with your full chest and just continue.
Let me use ChatGPT. Okay, so this is ChatGPT,
Okay,
right?
according to ChatGPT,
So
OpenAI, okay?
let me say, according to ChatGPT. So
OpenAI.
ChatGPT says meekness. Meekness means to be gentle,
Uh-huh.
to be calm, to be
Uh-huh.
patient, to have a patient attitude.
Is it the
It's
same definition that you are giving before?
not the same.
The exact three words. I was just waiting for you to please say the exact three words so that I'll catch you. Not that same word, gentleness, calmness, and patience. Why is this? Oh, you don't know how to very good memory. Continue, Jerry. Why?
It's not,
Jesus.
it's not. This is my head, though. I know you can't relate. I know you
Yeah,
can't relate, but
cannot though.
it's all good. I know you
I'm a
can't
very
relate, but
humble
it's all
person.
good.
I'm getting
It's
from
all good.
ChatGPT. I say, maybe this is what we are talking about now. Maybe you don't acknowledge ChatGPT that I'm getting it from you. Be humble.
so,
Mm.
so, it says meekness and humility. It says meekness.
You
Meekness
say,
refers to gentle, being calm, and patient,
okay,
having patience in the face of difficulty or opposition. That is what
okay,
meekness was means.
okay.
Now, humility. Humility is recognizing and accepting your own limitations, weakness,
Mm-hmm.
and value of others. So that is
Okay.
what humility what means. Yeah. Now, when it comes to being, when people say you are humble, humility usually comes with, I think, I strongly believe it respect. You know, when you are respectful, people see you as being humility. So I wouldn't say being respectful on its own, right? It's the only characteristics of people that are humble. No. So it comes with some other things too, right? Humility comes with some other things, being humble, being respectful, having what you call um the ability to serve others, like having this um always willing to serve people, always willing to serve somebody that is of somebody that is always quick to render services to people, like selfless services. That person is being considered to be what? To be humble. Being considered to be what?
Mm-hmm.
Humble. And somebody that equally value others, because you know, people that usually value others, sometimes people that consider others much more than themselves, that consider others more valuable than themselves, like they're actually being, considered to be people that are humble. For instance, you can see somebody, right? You you can see somebody that he 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 goes out of his way to help people, right? That's being humble. That can be seen or that can be considered as being humble. You can see people that they will go, let's say for instance, you are in a car, right? You see somebody that is maybe they of same age, but maybe because you find out that the other person is incapacitated or the person has one or two issues, that you just stand up for the person to sit down. Actions like that can be considered as being what? Um, can be considered as humility, somebody being humble, being selfless, putting himself out for people, and the rest. So that is what humility can be what considered as. Then what is meekness? Meekness usually come when you talk about meekness, you are usually making reference to, that's what they call having peace in chaos, having peace in problems. You see people that they have, you see people smiling, really smiling, and you be like, this person does not have any problem, this person does not have any problem. But when you go close to the person and the person tells you what he or she is facing, you be like, "Yeah, but from afar, you don't look like you are going through all these things." No, the thing is that that person has what we call meekness. He has an internal peace. He has he has a way of putting up putting up joy, putting up calmness, even in the presence of chaos, even in the presence
Hmm.
of problems, even in the presence of difficulties. That is what meekness is. Having patience. Right? That you see some people that you'll be talking to them, you'll be saying a lot of things to them. Do not say anything to you. They just keep looking at you. They just keep looking at you. They will not say anything to you. Tell them everything you tell them. You saw them or do anything. You just keep calm, be looking at you. That is what meekness. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. ChatGPT and Mr. Sage. We are grateful.
Don't insult me. Oh.
Okay. You started with ChatGPT now before I incorporated the thank you to both of you. All right. So thank you so much. All right. So yeah. So we've established the definition of these two virtues. The meekness has to do with being gentle, being calm, being patient, being um more like being quiet in the midst of the storm. All right, when you're somebody's not exactly like perturbed, or is being eager. When somebody's not eager to react. All right, when you don't actually allow situations or confrontations to detect the way you react to things or the
Most
way you react to
most
people.
especially, let me chip in, sorry. Most especially when you have the powers to do so, right?
Yeah, when you have the
When you have
ability to do that.
when you have the ability to
when,
do so.
yeah,
But
when
that's
you
actually
can do
what
that.
power is. Power means
Yeah,
power is when you have what it takes to do whatever thing you want to do, but you
yeah,
intentionally decide not to do it.
yeah. Okay. So that is meekness. So when you have every right, every ground to react to negativity, or react to confrontation, or react to whatever thing it is, external factor or internal factors, but then you choose to be calm, you choose to be unperturbed, you choose to remain the same. All right. That is meekness. All right. So when we talk about humility, we're talking about not overestimating yourself, understanding your limitations as a person, and knowing where others have to come in, or where others actually came in, and not overvaluing yourself, over thinking that you are better than people and all of that. All right. So, but humility, which you create the balance, I understand that humility is not inferiority complex. All right. Humility is not self-worthless. Like when people are not aware of themselves, self-unawareness are people that really struggle to be aware of themselves. They are not exactly humble people, but they just are having inferiority complex. All right, they are looking humble or acting humble because they feel this person has more things than I do. I mean, it's always on the basis of societal stuff, or maybe class, or all of that. So you see some people acting like they are humble, right? But in their mind and in their hearts, they are not. They just doing all of that, maybe because of eye service, or maybe because they feel like this person has more everything than me. So we are talking about when you actually have what it takes to not be humble, right? When you have
Mhm.
everything it takes not to be meek, when you have everything it takes, right, not to be either of these things, but then you choose to still be humble. So humility, we said, is being able to not overestimate yourself too much, all right? Acknowledging other people, acknowledging the parts and the role other people play and everything, and being eager to learn, all right? Being eager to learn from people as well, being eager, able to see where other people comes in and all of that. So now we've understood the definitions of these two guys. So the similarities, I mean, these two attributes obviously have similarities, all right? And their similarities is always it's always, sometimes they actually like people can use the both word interchangeably, right? So it's more like they kind of, you know, it's more like how people kind of, sometimes it's as if the similarities they have is how is more of in the appearance of people, okay, in how people appears. I mean, you might see somebody and be like, ah, this person looks so humble and all of that, or this person looks so meek and all of that, this person looks so gentle. So in appearance, I think the both of them kind of have the same attributes, just on the basis of you not encountering somebody, like just by looking at somebody, just by or maybe one instance of encounter with somebody, when there is no confrontation, when there, I mean, everything being equal. I mean, there was no need for them to show you any other side of them, you know. So just everything being all right, everything being soft, everything being calm. You might just on your own now say, ah, this person is humble, this person looks so gentle, this person looks so this and all of that. All right. So I think that's always where their similarity is always coming. But then in actual applications, or in real life experiences, I think the both of them actually they differ from each other. Okay, so in my understanding, I've come to understand that the both of them actually differs from one another. All right, that somebody can actually be meek and not humble. Somebody can actually be humble and not meek.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, somebody can actually be, I mean, for the both of them to actually they're not synonymous as we synonyms, right? So for the very reason that they're not synonyms means that these two things are actually different. So it means that somebody can be this and can might not be the other one, or somebody can be the other one and might not be the other one. Okay, so now how do we actually differentiate these two guys? Like, how can you actually say that somebody is actually meek and then not humble? Now, let's somebody can actually be meek, somebody can actually appear gentle, right? Somebody can actually be meek and not humble, right? Let's use an example. Maybe there is a confrontation, or there is something that actually go, or an outburst or something. Somebody might actually remain calm, not because they're actually humble, but because they even feel that you don't even watch their time. And like, this thing people are doing itself does not even worth my time. Like, you guys, I don't even have, like, you guys don't even have what it takes for me to associate with you guys. All
You
right.
don't have what
So
it takes
the
for you
person,
to command my time.
yeah, or even command my attention. So the person is actually meek, all right? They are gentle, but then not because they are necessary humble, all right? They just meek, all right? But then that's because they don't feel like you want their time, all right, or you want their whatever, their attention or anything. You don't want that to them. So they have pride, but then they are meek. And then in the other way around, somebody can actually be humble but not meek. Now you can actually see somebody that you feel like the person is humble, and then you see the person in a confrontation and you're wondering, what is going on, like, which kind, where is this attitude coming out from, all right? So where people are not able to, maybe when they are in a situation whereby they have an option to remain calm, but then they cannot. I mean, they just have to speak their mind. They just have to, let it out there, kind of a thing, all right? So they are actually humble people, right? But then they're not exactly calm, right? They have to, they are trying to put out their mind there. still, trying to maintain their, they would say we saying humbly speak. When somebody is saying, in my humble opinion, or maybe somebody is saying humbly speaking, but then they
But
are speaking out fire.
there's no humbleness in the speaking.
There's no,
In fact,
they're actually
in fact, they've
humble,
never,
actually, but
in
then
fact, in fact,
they're actually
they've never been in the case of, they've never been in
calm
the
down,
case of
telling
a
somebody
humble
calm down.
speaking that the speaking has been humble.
All right, so it's something like that. So, but they don't also, they are actually not, overestimating themselves or something. They are not actually, devaluing you or something, but it's more like they are trying to speak their mind, or they are trying to, put out there how they are feeling out there, they actually have the opportunity to not talk at that point, and maybe when everywhere is now calm, they can, come out and come back and, say as it actually was. But then they're, because they're not entirely that calm person, they're not entirely that gentle, right? They'll just, lash out and all of that. So they're not lashing out because they feel they're overestimating themselves, but because of how they are feeling, or because of how the whole confrontation or whatever thing it is actually came around. So that is how that's works. But then imagine when somebody has a combination of these two attributes, right? When you are
Hmm.
actually humble, and then you're also
And
meek.
meek.
All right. So when it comes to when there is a confrontation, or where there is something going on that is really calling on your attention back to back, but then I mean, you can actually, get up and do the whole thing, or shout or whatever, but then you choose to, remain calm. Now you're not remaining calm because you're feeling like those people does not deserve your almightiness or whatever, but because this is what you feel should be done at this point, right? You feel, that, maybe when you start speaking now, you're just going to say the wrong things, right? Maybe hurt the other person's feeling, and at the same time, say things that you're not supposed to say at that point in time, because words can be a lot and all of that. So you might choose to remain calm, all right? And then, but then you're also humble, right? You're remaining calm is not because of pride. Your remaining calm is actually because you are considering the other party. You're trying not to hold their feelings. You're trying not to say what you're not supposed to say. You're trying to, you know, um acknowledge their own worth as well, because you know that thing you're about to say, maybe if it was actually said to you, you will not, take it well. It will obviously hurt you. So you're trying to put yourself in that person's place. So you're trying to also measure up that person's worth as much as you're also valuing your own self. So I think this is my own little contribution. So what do you have to say when it comes to differentiating these two guys? And when it comes to their similarities, and when it comes to their combo, when somebody has a combination of the two.
I concur with you.
You can never concur with me. ChatGPT or Nyona. Has
I
ChatGPT
con
gone off?
I agree. I agree with everything you said.
Have you exhausted your day's usage?
Don't insult me, this child. All right. So we're talking about uh I don't know what they're I don't know what they're talking about. All right, so we're talking about meekness and we're talking about humility. And this time around, I really want to understand the difference or the similarities that exist between the two. So I think the similarities that exist between the two is the fact that these are concepts that relates to human nature. How humans this could as well be considered as behavioral traits or things that people acquire or people things that people consciously or deliberately train or groom themselves to become. All right, now when you're talking about meekness, right? Meekness, I guess, or I think, really have to do with how you respond to things, like you rightly said, how you respond to things. I think that's the difference that exists from the point of meekness, right? Things may be happening, but you choose to you just choose to be yourself. You just choose not to do anything, not really because you don't have what it takes to do anything, but because you've trained yourself, you've trained your mind, you've trained your body, you've trained your soul, you've trained your entire being on how to remain calm even in the face of things, right? So I think that's part that's of meekness. Then when you're talking about humility, I'm just trying to portray on the difference that exists between the two. So when you're talking about humility, you're talking about, how people actually relate to others. Now, why meekness talk about how you respond to external situations, right? Or external things, right? But humility talks about how you yourself, you kind of, relate with people. You get so I think these are the difference that exist between the two. So I've already spoken about or talked about the similarities that exist, where I say that these are both human natures, right? These are, there are similarities that, exist between um them, like the two things. I guess these little things I have to contribute.
Okay. Thanks for to ChatGPT and still thanks to you. All right. So
I,
and
I don't know what they're saying.
one other chapter. So let's talk about the benefits of these two guys, right? Like how these guys can actually benefit oneself. Now, when somebody is actually like meek and also humble, all right. So now we are taking hold of the both attribute because they're actually like important, right? You don't have to choose over one. You don't have to choose one over the other, right? The both of them are actually like very important. They can actually save you from a lot, like a lot. Especially in fact, there's no in fact the both of especially the both of them in fact because there are some confrontation stuff that don't need you saying anything, right? Because you might just want to say and then it might get into it might I mean you don't exactly want it to be so much. You might just think you are just saying your mind or something and then it will turn into something else. They feel even blow you safe. They feel even blow you when you're talking your mind in all humility safe. So there are so many things you can actually avoid a lot of trouble. So it's always best in the midst of confrontation to just hukuma remain calm, right? So if you are working with people that are sensible, and then you know that okay, the atmosphere is already like the tension is already too much in the air. Why it's actually best for you to allow everybody to calm down. Then you can actually go back and say your own say or something. But then if you also act at the same time, if you actually okay, if those people are sensible enough, they're able to you know have a proper conversation with you. I mean, at least the tension has come down and everything. Now, if those people are not sensible, now imagine trying to get into an argument with somebody that is not sensible. So in both ways, either ways, whether the people you are dealing with are sensible or not sensible or whatever thing it is, it's always best to just kukuma remain calm. All right. It's always best to just remain calm. All right. It might look like a weakness, but obviously not a weakness. It's a wonderful strength that is going to save you from so many, so many, so many troubles. All right. And then when it comes to humility, the same thing goes with humility, right? So you don't really have to show yourself because when you keep showing yourself, and then you are trying to diminish other people, it's obviously come to a point where those other people will just allow you to really show yourself without them. Because those people actually be doing a lot of background work that is actually putting you yourself out there, but you are never acknowledging them. So by the time they just make up their mind not to even do anything, not to play their own part, and let them see how you now shine. You now come and embarrass yourself and all of that. So it's not cool. I mean, the both of them are actually not cool to say. The both of them will save you from so much trouble and so much embarrassment. So one other thing that is actually one good advantage of these two guys is that it helps you to actually learn. All right. When you actually imagine being calm in a situation and then everywhere is just loudly. First of all, it makes you to observe your environment, know the kind of environment you're even finding yourself in, and then the kind of people you're actually dealing with. Right? It's helpful to learn how people actually are and how people react to things. It makes so at that point in time you're being observant and learning people and how they actually do things, which obviously is going to help you out as days go by so that you know how because most of the time the approaches differ from individuals. The way you approach this person is not the same with the way you actually have to approach this other person. So at that point in time, it actually makes you to learn, right? You're learning, you're observing your environment, and then you're also, learning from everything that is actually going on. And then also in the case of humility, when you're actually a humble person, it actually gives you room to also being able to learn from people as well. All right, irrespective of who the person is, irrespective of who the person is, you can actually be able to learn from these two guys. Now, the reason why I actually thought about these two attributes is because they kept on coming up since yesterday. Right? They came up yesterday when we were doing evening service, and then our pastor said that there's nobody has never actually not learned something from, even his children when they were small. That sometimes his children when they are talking, he will be jotting things down because even though there's sometimes after you now ask them that thing they said, they will not even remember self, but it's actually a very uncommon wisdom that just came out,
Mm.
and then he will just put it down self. There is a verse in the Bible that he said that it was one of his children that helped him to interpret that verse in the Bible with questions. You know how children can actually be asking questions innocently. All right. So
Mm.
the same thing with Apostle Joshua Simon. Today he also said something like that. Like he learned from anything, he learns from anybody. All right. So humility will actually make you to come to that point to understand that everybody can be of value to you. All right.
Yes.
Irrespective of who the person is, where they, I mean, you can actually meet a man in the village who has not even left that village for once, and then you engage in conversation with them, and then they would like the kind of uncommon wisdoms you actually get. You still meet people that are out there, practically everywhere. You can go to buy something from a shop, and then somebody will start telling you something, and then you are wondering, how does this person know this much and all of that. So you don't judge how much people actually know, all right, on the basis of where they are or something like that. So you can actually learn from anything, learn from anybody at all. So I think this is one advantage of these together as well. So they actually help you to, be eager. Like you're just, you really want to learn, you're eager to learn, and all of that is, and they also save you at the same time from trouble. All right. It also makes you not to appear like you have two personality, because when you're actually a very humble person, but then you're not meek. So when people now see you reacting to some kind of things, they wonder, I thought this person is humble. They will obviously misinterpret that you not being meek as you being prideful, something like that. Must you talk? They'll be not feeling that you're arrogant. That's why you want to talk. But in your heart, you know that this is not actually act of arrogance. That you're just trying to, save your face or something. So it's obviously save you from that situation whereby people are now, people are not even know whether to still trust you because you now be feeling like it's as if you have two parts or you have true color. These things people say you see somebody's true color. So
Mm.
it's not just something like that. So I think so how do somebody actually become meek or how did somebody actually become humble? Now it's just like what you talked about behavior and all of that. So it's actually all about intentionality, right? It's something that you just have to make up your mind that you just have to do. Right. So I mean starting off it's not gonna be easy because it's hard not for you not to want your voice to be heard and all of that, but then it's just something that you have to take a step at a time. You just have to intentionally, choose that this is what you want to do. Like you don't want to talk and that is it. You don't want to make problem and that is it. You don't want to show off yourself and that is it. I mean, even when they are showing you off, you can always at the same time drag the people that are actually working behind the scene with you and all of that. It takes
Hello.
intentionality and discipline. Oh, yeah, can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so you take intentionality and discipline yourself, right? That it's not a must that your voice will be heard and all of that. I mean, you can just calm down and then all of that. So I think that's my own contribution. So how do you think somebody can actually become meek or become humble? How do you think that's gonna work?
Fantastic, fantastic. When I mean fantastic, I mean fantastic. That
Are
is
you
a
buying time?
very, very wonderful submission by you. Very, very wonderful submission.
Are you
And
buying time?
I still need to thank ChatGPT too for helping you, for assisting you.
Nah,
It has really been
there's
it
no.
has
I
really
told you
been
my eyes
helpful.
are. I
But
told you my eyes
it's
are hurting, so I'm not even. I'm not even opening anything.
come on, sit down, go and sit down there.
Over my head, bro. Everybody will not believe me.
So
Buying time now for that.
I want to talk about the importance of meekness and the importance of humility. You know,
Updates.
even the Bible itself says that God's how did God
Mhm.
give
God resists the pride and
God
give grace
resist
to
the
the humble.
pride and give grace to the humble. Exactly. So even biblically,
And Jesus,
the Bible
Jesus is meek.
itself, the Bible itself um portrays or expanded on meekness. In fact, there's a place where the Bible said that I think he was saying that when you is that a parable or what? So was saying something that when you come to an occasion that you should just stay at the back, right? But
Yeah, until they call you. I think it should be
until they
Proverbs.
until they call you towards the front. So that's you being humble.
Yeah.
Imagine when you go to an occasion out of arrogance,
So out
you
of
just
thinking
carry
that
yourself
they
and
are
go to the
supposed to
front to
call
go
you.
and sit down. Then they tell you, "Enya, you need to forget na aga n'ihu gaa n'ala."
Yeah, but
And they
that's
tell you,
even there are also some occasion whereby you come to an occasion with somebody and then they want to carry only you and go and put it clip in the front. All right. So humility is also you trying to understand how that person is going to feel because I mean me and you came to an occasion and then they came and carried only you and put in front. Me, I'll not stay at the back.
"Hmm,
Like so humility will also make you to understand that this is not going to be cool for this other person, right? Especially when
exactly.
or even if yeah, even if the both of you did not come together, but you guys met, maybe somebody you already know somewhere. You guys met and you guys are just gisting about old times, and then they now say, they acknowledge you and now say you come and stay in the front. Ha. It does not really for that other person, I mean, it's not really a bad thing if you just get up and I mean that person will understand, right?
Yes,
But then it does something to their person as well, like more high now wow, you know.
exactly.
So it's not really cool per se.
So that is what humility. So being humble, it's a very, very important. It's something that everybody should imbibe. I think one of the things that will make you to be humble is when you understand people and when you really attach importance, attribute importance to people. There are some people that usually don't take others as they look at you and they'll be like you don't
Mhm.
even want to living, like you shouldn't be living. Like they think that they are so important that you shouldn't exist. When you see people think like that, it's only visible, it's only indicative of lack of humility, lack of being humble. Because some people think that because God have helped them and they were able to achieve one or two things in life. So
They don't
because
even
of what
so
they
most people that are actually arrogant, they don't even acknowledge that it's even God that did anything for them.
that
They'll
give
cuckoo tell you
okay,
that it's them. I
it's
mean,
because
I
of
did
the
not
hard
sleep
work.
for not sleep for 3 days, and but then not knowing that there's someone else out there that's not even slept for 7 days more. At every point, there's someone that works harder than you are. There's someone that always
Yes,
work harder. I mean, when you feel like 24 hours is not even enough, there's somebody that works harder than you do.
than you are.
I mean, you can't tell me that people that carry all these bricks, people that drive all these trucks and all of that. Do you know how heavy that and painful that thing is? Are you trying to tell me that that someone that is just sitting down in the office signing paper is more hardworking than they are? So that's just the thing. So most of the time, you find out that it's not even because you need make up. It's not because So people sometimes people don't even acknowledge God sef. They don't just say that it's their effort oh, it's their this one oh, it's their
Exactly.
this other one, another one.
So, you know, that is it. So, things like this, when people don't consider others as important, it's very easy for them not to be what humble. You see people talk to people with disdain, with make a mess of their fellow human being. They don't even think that you want a living. So all those things are, it's not. These are part of the threat of not being humble. And the disadvantage is that there is a way you make people feel, and they will just end up going, resorting to suicide. They'll be like, in fact, the way you relate with people usually send a strong message to them. You may think that you just made a statement, but most people, that statement you made, they will keep on processing it, and the devil will just go and magnify it in their mind and end up doing
Yeah.
something else. So, it costs nothing to be humble. It actually costs nothing to be meek, to be calm too as well. So when you have meekness, it usually saves, trouble. It usually save you from a whole lot of issues or problems. Imagine being calm for just 1 second and you save a situation, and talking, and and reacting, and you spoiling the whole situation. So which one is more wiser? So you get to really understand that meekness is very, very what important. Both are very, very what important. Now, how do you acquire meekness? How do you become meek? How do you become humble? How do you become meek? How do you become humble? Now, most of the times there are so many ways of becoming meek and equally becoming humble. There are so many ways, and there are so many determinants as to why people, eventually become humble. You see somebody that is very, very rude today, and tomorrow the person becomes humble, and you be like, what is happening? Most of them, either they've gone through or they've been taught to be humble. Like now, I
Or
usually
life
say, is it?
or life has humbled them by all means.
Yes, or life has humbled them, by all means, yes. It's that they've been taught or life has taught them. Those days while we were small, we had a neighbor then, they were very, very, God helped them anyway, there. God really helped them. So their family were well to do. So if you see them, the way they gallivant themselves and go about showing themselves, go about showing themselves. So that will really go about showing themselves. But, you know, after some time, all those things that make them proud themselves and gallivant themselves around, God disappeared, and life eventually forced them to be humble. So, so that's another way of being humble, allowing life to force you, but that's not advisable. I won't advise you
That's
to allow
very
life to force you to be humble.
right.
So you need to really, really learn to be humble. Now, most of the time, being humble, you don't learn it. It's not something that you just learn like that. You need to be taught. Sometimes your like let's take children for instance now. You need to really start training your children right from when they are small. If they are, for them to be humble, for them to be respectful, for them to be meek. Because when they learn this thing from childhood, right? It's easy for them to exhibit this behavior. It's easy for them to love their neighbor. It's easy for them to be meek. It's easy for them to be what humble. So the people needs to be taught. Most of the times, if you don't teach people, they don't know, right? So people need to be taught to be what humble. So one of the ways people can be meek and can be humble is through teaching. Through teaching, letting people to know that it costs nothing for you to be humble, right? You can save a soul by being humble. You can save a soul by being meek, right? You make people to really understand the importance of humanity, that your neighbor's life is equally important as your own life. You teach people or make people to understand that they should love others as they love themselves. So all these are ways through teaching. These are ways people can be what humble. So the other one I want to advise, which is life. If you allow life to humble you, in fact, most of the time when life humble you and you become meek and humble, it's usually a fake one because if tomorrow eventually get money or you move out of that situationship, right? The next thing that happens is that you become so brutal because you think that it's by your own powers that you're able to navigate or pull yourself out of that situation. And what it eventually does is that at the end of the day, it will make you start looking at others as they don't know anything. You'll be like, I've been in this particular position before now, but by
Mhm.
my own powers, I got the powers. I got the
But I can't do that.
powers. Can't do that, can't do that. By my own powers, I was able to move myself out of this situation. So these are the dynamics that exist in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Open AI and Mr. Sage. Thank you, thank you. So I think in addition to this, right, there is something that Bible says about everything that we have been given. Now, if you have that understanding that everything you have from A to Z was actually given to you, all right, because there's so many things you can't actually explain. You cannot even explain how you were able to grow. All right. For people that used to call the other person short and flat nails. You cannot even explain how you became tall. You can't even explain how you are born beautiful or how you were born rich or something. All right. So most of all these things you're actually like giving. All right. So you just see yourself that way and then you are all prideful, like you're beautiful, tall lady or something. I mean, what does that even mean? All right. So, and having that understanding that everything you have is actually given. I mean, no matter how much you work hard and no matter how diligent or whatever thing you have, I mean, even that diligent you are saying it was still given because at some point in your life you're not even that diligent. You are even lazy
Yes.
and very procrastinating and all of that.
It's not of him that
So
runneth.
yeah. So, having the understanding that, everything actually was, practically given. All right. That will obviously help you. I mean, that will always like keep you in check. That will always keep you constantly on your knees. Right. Because you obviously know where you can actually where you're actually getting whatever thing it is from. All right. I think that's actually very important to take note of because people can be so arrogant and I don't even know how to explain it, especially children. You'll be wondering this person that cannot even walk or cannot even do anything to help his or her life is just this arrogance. You find that it's their parents, most of them is just their parents and how they
Yes.
actually groom them and all of that, which is total. I mean, when you hear all that children are bullying their fellow children, that thing I don't really understand how that really works. And in addition to teaching your children how to be humble, right, we should not mistake humility as weakness. I'm always like emphasizing on that because most of the times why children actually get bullied is because it's not because they are humble, it's just they are not even they are so self-unaware. They are just, I don't even know what the word to use. It's just inferiority complex and all of that. And for the fact that the person was bullied, and not necessarily because they are humble, because they feel maybe this person has better status or them or something. If they themselves
Yes.
get to that point in return, they will still do the same exact same thing because they were also not taught humility. They are just suffering from inferiority complex, thinking
A
that this
lot.
is how the world actually
When you talk
works.
about this thing, it reminds me of an event. I remember when I was a little bit tender then.
Yes, sit tender.
When I was a little bit tender then at my at home then. So there's this our neighbor then, the is a senator. So and they have these their relatives that usually come around and we usually have to play ball then. So one guy like that, the guy was very, very was a bully. And I mean bully. So and then I was really, I had this inferiority complex in the sense that I was looking at the guy, this guy is coming from a rich family, oh, this one, that one. The their relative, it's a sitting senator and all this kind of thing. So the guy, because of that, you see how the guy walk around, you see how the guy puff himself around. Anytime I remember that thing, sometimes I'll just laugh. I even saw the guy one certain time, like I just look at the guy, I just laugh. I say, Kai, life. I say, this one now, if he just come close to me now, I'm gonna rock like this. I'm gonna rock back. If I do flying jack, why open up you? You know, when I think of all those things then. But then I was really, the guy really bullied me then. No. It was really, really funny then. No. Like I was very, very scared of that guy then. Like and anytime I remember that now, I'll just be like, what is this? But that was one of my, that was a significant case of bully. It was very, very significant. I was very, very scared of that guy. Like, I was very, very scared of that guy. Because, because of social status, and the guy actually knew. And, he was really, really using it. He had the best of me because he knew that I was scared of him because of, perceived riches or perceived material wealth that I think that the economic status they had at the time, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, that's a little chipping.
Yeah, so that, and that is not really the best. I can't even remember if I've never been bullied anyway. But then I can't even remember who goes you. When I was so small, it's me that even bully you, self. I even manipulate you, self. Oh, I mean, but you obviously have people that you will not really want to be. I mean, I remember that time where I had this girl in my class, and that was I think I don't even know where she came from, but all of a sudden she was now the one taking first position in her class. And then she was now having a beef with my best friend that time in school. And then she now called all of us meeting that none of us should ever talk to the girl again. I mean, if you see talking to the girl, that means you don't want to be talking to her too. I said, "Toh." And the girl is that my best friend was my neighbor in the exam. She's always my neighbor in the exam because her surname is O. That day we're in exam, right? See, we are in our class where we are writing exam. After I think we were finished writing exam, we're now just me and the girl. Me and that my best friend. That's one of the girls now entered the class and now saw me talking to the girl and I say, Shebi, match say we should not be talking to her and all of that. I just looked at that guy, not even talk. My own is that I've always been a very calm person for the one. Just be saying nonsense. I'll just be looking at you. I'll still go and do what I want to do. I'll still go and do what I want to do. Shebi, as in which kind of nonsense? I should not talk about because they're beefing the person. Shebi, you're mad. Shebi, I'm mad like you. So those kind of thing, like I will just be looking at you, Shai, and you're actually thinking that it's entering, but me, I'll still go and do what is in my mind. And I think because I think when I was in primary school, I had like how many of my siblings in school. And I have like two boys so that me together. So where would you even start? Both of them will just jack you and throw you outside. And my dad is in fact my dad is very notorious in our school because they're always coming to make trouble. If they increase our school fees at 5 naira, come to school and make sure because I had like four children at the same time in the same school. I expect him to be paying that amount of money. So I was not even so I was not necessarily I don't even know. And then my mom has this audacity, always imbibing us like she always tell us that no matter how rich somebody is, that person should never ever in any way make you feel somehow. I mean, for the fact that me and you are going to the same school. So what makes you think that you're not richer than me? I don't understand. If people are rich now, cuckoo, maybe throw you to another school now. What are you doing in the school of the poor people?
Mm.
Are you a mad person? Well, because it doesn't make sense. All of us are going to the same private school, paying the same amount of money. And then, okay, because they're not carrying you in car to go home. Me, I'm trekking. And so, Shebi, the school fees are paying,
So,
I'm paying you. Uh-huh. Have I ever begged you for lunch? Have you ever seen me begging you for lunch? So all those kind of things. So day your day, let me day my day. Not be only you get money. And we had this cousin that is always like that, puffed up. I wonder my brother was like Do you know you don't have anything that is actually your own? Everything you have is your father that gave it to you. Everything you have is actually your father that gave it to you. Like you don't have a certificate that has your name. You don't have, there's nothing, nothing. Everything you have is actually from your father. Why not kuku come as in humble? Like, because if you actually have to understand that everything you actually have is actually given. If you have it better than other people, maybe your parents are already rich and everything. So why hasn't why are your shoulders up? You're just reaping somebody else's sacrifice and everything. So you should
Well,
even before
sacrifices.
what you say, your own focus should be that let the people that comes after you enjoy the same way you are even enjoying. But you see, because they're actually all puffed up at the end of the day, when they get into their forties and everything, both everything their father has, they wasted it and they did not even make anything for themselves. And then those people that they look down on, that were struggling for them, knowing that they don't even have anything laid out for them, are now making it at that point, you know. So
Yes.
and at that point, you cannot even stand that person again. All your arrogance and all your stupidity and everything they have all washed out with age. So the whole thing, there's no, I mean, there is some point actually that you obviously, start feeling the need not to be humble. And the truth of the matter is that as broke as I am now, I cannot even say that I'm a humble person. I can't actually say that I'm humble. All right, because I've not exactly had the power to not exactly be to be something else. All right, I'm just humble because maybe I'm actually humble now because that's the only thing I can actually be. So I can't exactly say that I'm a humble person. So it obviously comes a point in your life where so many attentions are at you. You have power, you have everything it takes. So it's actually at that point in time that you know that, on okay,
You
this
are
person is
humble.
really humble. Yeah. So, but for now, you can't exactly say humble or something, but you can actually say if you're meek. All right. Meekness at
Mm-hmm.
this point, you can actually say if you're meek or something. But then humility, you have to have what as in there should be something that really is obviously going on. The spotlight, you're already on the spotlight, a lot of things, people are massaging your ego. I mean, you have every ground to front yourself and everything, but then you still choose not to. But then it's actually at this point that you actually try to, keep renewing your mind, understanding that, I mean, where you're going in life, if you really want it to last, if you really want the longevity of the whole thing, you really need to calm it down. You really just need to maintain the whole humility and everything. Yeah, I think that is it. So thank you so much. This is my own conclusion. I don't know if you have any conclusion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that was a very wonderful conclusion. That was a very wonderful conclusion. We should teach people to be humble. And I actually wanted to ask the last question, which you said you've answered, that you don't know whether you are humble. I think I can say that I'm humble, but meekness is what I can tell that I'm not sure that I am meek. Because me, I usually find it difficult for me to be quiet, especially when the thing enter me. I mean, I may say that I'm not meek, but if it's humble, I can say that I'm humble. All
So,
right.
so you have heard the importance of being meek now. So you have to. What are your action steps to becoming meek?
I will take intentional efforts towards trying to be meek,
To remain calm
towards
in
to,
situations that
to remain
that
calm in
calling your
situations.
that calling for your reaction. All right. So you
Yeah.
have to learn how not to allow situations to dictate the way you react, or people to detect the way you react, because some reaction can be intentional. Like people can intentionally want you to behave a certain way for them to make conclusion, or for them to say, you see, I told you this person is this and all of that. So, or just to cause trouble, or just to mess things up for people, right? So it's very important. So I think I can actually say meekness. I actually know how to remain calm in situations. I mean, in my head and in my mind, if you open my head and my mind and see what is going on at that point, you will run. But then physically, I'll just be looking at you, and yeah. But humility at this point, I can say I'm a humble person, but then I cannot exactly say because I've not been at the spotlight. I've not had the power. I've not got the powers. But then every day we ask the Lord to help us, and no matter what it is that comes in the future, we should have that understanding, right? That all that
Yes.
we have is given.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. That was a very wonderful topic. That was a very wonderful discussion. That was a very wonderful
Thanks,
submission. That was a very
thanks,
superb.
thanks, 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 thanks,
That
thanks.
was excellent. That was fantabulous. That was fantastic. You
You
name
and
it.
ChatGPT, well, applauses.
Is it?
You and OpenAI also did well. Applauses.
I seriously don't know what you're talking about. So thank you very much for that engaging conversation. Let's do this
Yeah.
again, same time, same station next week. You know that you still be our anchor next week. So keep
I don't
preparing.
understand how.
Bye.
It's
Thank you very
you.
much. And
How you really do?
let's do this again.
Okay.